I have to stop overthinking this and just put this video out there. It's a lot, you know? This could be a whole series. This is about manifesting my smile. That seems pretty straightforward, but it is not. This has to do with the law of attraction, and pretty much everybody knows what that is, but I will put the definition up here. I get it. There's no scientific proof behind any of this, but there's tons of people from all walks of life all over the world that have experienced stuff like this. I know a lot of you guys are following a specific religion. Same. I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus. I'm not trying to offend anybody with this video. It's always really hard for me to share like my real deep feelings and personal beliefs. Like, I'll get on here and talk about teeth all day, but when it comes to like things that I hold like really close to me, it's difficult for me to share that with people. There's somebody watching this right now that is feeling exactly what I've felt before. If I could properly put that into words, I would. I've never been able to, but it is a feeling that nobody should ever have to feel. And so I hope that by sharing my story and my experience with this, that at least one person can feel like there's some kind of hope for them out there. I do not come from money. At times, we were considered poor. Our lights were getting cut off. Our neighbors were buying us groceries. We were doing our back to school shopping at thrift stores, and we were literally holding the van door closed with a bungee cord. That's the kind of poor that we were. Eventually, the house that we grew up in was foreclosed on, and we moved to Jacksonville from Virginia. Rented a tiny house in an area that really wasn't the greatest. As a result of not having money, I never really saw the dentist. So my teeth just got tons of cavities in my teenage years. By the time I moved out on my own at age 22, my teeth were basically beyond repair. And by that, I mean, like, I couldn't afford it. There was no way that I could afford the type of restorative work that I needed to bring my teeth back up to par. I had a GED. I had no college degree. I jumped around from job to job because anxiety and shame and humiliation, wanting to hide my smile. Not to mention my credit score was somewhere in the 400s. So the dentists that I saw said that I either needed dentures or I needed to spend thousands of dollars to get my teeth restored to a state of normal functioning. And neither one of those were a viable option at the time because I, like a lot of people, believed a lot of stigmas about denture wearers, and I thought that that was like a nightmare, and it was something that I wouldn't even consider because I didn't have all the information on it. So neither one of those were going to work for me. So it seemed that I was in a very hopeless situation and there was no way out of it. I was at the point where I hated leaving my house. I didn't want to face people. I had constant infections, abscessed teeth, pain like you wouldn't believe, ER visits to try to get something to numb the pain. I looked sick. I felt run down all the time. My diet was terrible because I couldn't chew. I'd oftentimes skip meals. I was very, very much underweight. And so the only thing that I could do to escape the misery of the reality that I was in was to just retreat to my head and just imagine good things happening to me. The likelihood of these things happening was not likely. You know what I mean? But it was something that I did just to give me a moment of peace, give me a moment of joy and hope, because if I didn't do that, I would have slipped really far into depression, and I don't know how I would have been able to come out of it. So I would sit there and I would visualize winning a contest, appearing on a talk show and having them tell me like, oh, surprise, we're going to give you a smile makeover, stuff like that. But the contest thing was the go-to because, like, you know, let's be honest, I'm probably not going to be on Ellen or Oprah. So I just imagined that I would discover a contest and I would enter it, and against all odds, I would be announced the winner of that contest. I would allow myself to go through the visualizations and just picture it at being as real as I possibly could, feeling the emotions that I would feel, like the doubt, like, what if this doesn't work? Like, this doesn't happen to somebody like me. And then all of a sudden it happens to me. And how would that feel to hear somebody say, you're going to get your smile back? And I would experience that. I would cry, like legit cry, not just in my head, actual tears streaming down my face as I'm imagining all of this, imagining seeing myself in the mirror and smiling. I couldn't see it. Like I would get quick flashes of what it would look like if I had teeth, but it was just, it never seemed real enough. Like that was the part that I had the most trouble actually visualizing because it was something that I'd never seen before. But I could still imagine what it would feel like. I could imagine seeing my eyes and seeing them crinkle and seeing the tears streaming down my face and knowing what it would feel like to know that this is finally over. I've finally arrived at a point where I can feel just normal, just peace. I would do that most nights. Some nights I would come down from that and realize, like, what are you doing? Like, this is never gonna happen to you, and you're just making it worse for yourself. And then reality would come crashing down, and I would have a full-blown panic attack because I would see how far off I was from that, like where my life really was at. And so that was hard to deal with, but nevertheless, I still continued to do that very, very frequently. So in 2010, I realized that that was the end of the line for my teeth. They were not going to be able to be repaired. I knew that I was going to have to let them go. That idea scared me because, you know, dentures, like, that still was not something that I wanted to consider. That was the first year that I opened up to my husband about all of the things that I had been dealing with, and he had no idea. It was a really emotional conversation that I had with him, and he was really supportive and said, you know, we'll do whatever we have to do to get you healed. And so I had a breakdown and I had a moment of honesty with God, which I regularly pray. And, you know, my prayers are not formal. They don't sound like something that you would hear in church group. I'm not using the Christian lingo, I'm sure of it, but they're real and they're honest. And I talk to God throughout my day. I talk to him regularly, and I had an honesty moment with God. And I was like, look, God, you know, I'm prepared to accept that this is my fate, that this is happening to me for some good reason that I can't see right now. All I'm asking is that if this is something that I have to experience, then please just give me the strength to endure it. Because, like, who am I to question God? Like, if this is a state that I'm in, then clearly there's got to be a reason for it. And I never really prayed much about my teeth because of that, because I felt guilty knowing that there are people out there that are in way worse condition than I am, people that, you know, are dealing with unimaginable things. And I thought, you know, this is a really selfish thing to ask God for. So I was like, you know, if this was part of your plan, then just give me the tools, like the mental equipment that I need to carry on, because I'm at my breaking point and I can't do it anymore. Like, I can't go on like this. But if I have any of your favor, God, then please just let me smile. That's it. Just let me smile, whatever that looks like. I don't care. I just want to be able to smile again and not have this constantly on my mind, because I don't know how I'm supposed to do your work if I can't even handle like daily living things. If he answered my prayer, then I made that promise that I would do whatever I could to help other people. I didn't have a YouTube at the time. I wasn't thinking about dentures at the time. Those two things were not in the works just yet. I ended up going online and Googling a bunch of stuff, and then I ended up in the denture rabbit hole and discovered a website which was a community of denture wearers. And here are all of these hundreds of people that have experienced just what I've experienced. They know the pain, they know the shame, they know the anxiety and the fear, the hesitance to go through with getting removable dentures. But then a lot of them faced that fear and they got their dentures and then they were healed. That motivated me. I made an appointment. The dentist told me, yeah, you do need to have your teeth pulled and you're gonna have to get dentures. At that point, I was ready. It was like my do or die moment. I knew that I can't afford implants, at least not at that point in my life. And I also knew that my teeth were going to fall out whether I wanted them to or not. And so I might as well just take control of that and get them pulled and get, you know, maybe a normal looking smile. The first 2 weeks were really rough. I stayed hopeful, and I have a video that I've never put out on my channel before of me on day 4 with my dentures. My face was swollen. It looked crazy. I was still positive. I was still staying hopeful that things would improve. And by 2 weeks, when I got my first reline and I came home and I looked at myself in the mirror, I lost it. It's the first time I'd ever seen anything like that. Like, I could finally put that missing puzzle piece into that visualization that I carried for so many years. And I was finally in real time, in real life, looking at myself with a nice set of teeth. I did my makeup. I was over the moon. I made my first video prior to that experience because I wanted to release those feelings of shame and embarrassment. I wanted to take control of that, control the narrative. It felt empowering to do a video talking about something that only months ago I never would have told anybody. And when I got that feedback from people saying, like, you have no idea how much you've helped me, I'm making my appointment, I thought, oh my God, this is an answered prayer. So not only did I get my smile, not the way that I wanted it to happen, but nevertheless, I got my smile, I'm also getting an opportunity to help somebody. So I decided to keep going with my YouTube videos. I did that for a couple more years, and then I entered a smile makeover contest. It was to win a $20,000 smile makeover with implants from Dr. Golpa in Las Vegas. I entered it and I just thought, wouldn't that be crazy? Like, not really thinking, like, up to that point, I thought that contests, like, they're scams. Do you know anybody that's won a contest like that? Like, I don't. These things are just marketing ploys. They're all rigged. But I'm gonna try my luck and I'm gonna enter anyways and just see how it goes. But wouldn't it be crazy if I actually won this contest and got implants, just like I had imagined all those years in my head? That would just be wild. I was announced the winner of that contest on January 1st of 2013. By March, I flew out and I got my implants, and it wasn't just $20,000. It was the upper and lower arch for, around $45,000 worth of work. I was overwhelmed. Of course, I was grateful. I was so thankful to even get that opportunity, to have a chance to get it and then to win it. I didn't know what to think. Gratitude, obviously, but like mind blown at the same time. Felt like I was in the twilight zone. Looking on, you might be one of those people that thinks, well, that's just the natural order of things. No, it's not. Like, I never even planned to start a YouTube channel. I never planned to be a YouTuber and do denture videos. I never planned to get dentures. All of this stuff just started happening, and it happened fast. Then I started thinking, like, is this the way that the world works? And I remembered times when me and Kevin were dead broke. We didn't have any money. I would just pray and be like, we're good people. We're not doing anything wrong. We're gonna be fine. Like, no matter what happens, like, we're gonna be taken care of. We're gonna be okay. And like, it never entered my mind that we wouldn't be okay, because I knew, like, I trusted that this is all part of the plan. We would find money in the most random places. We would find money in the lint trap. We would get rebates back from like stuff that we had forgotten about and didn't even know we were owed any money. Like, we were always taken care of. So after winning that contest, like, my whole paradigm shifted and I saw the world in a totally different way. Faith and belief and things like that aren't mysterious and untouchable. They're here and they're all around us, and it's very tangible and something that everybody has access to. I saw that and I experienced it, and it changed everything. And so because of all of this, my attitude changed. I no longer had an attitude of defeat. I had an attitude of win, no matter what. That's the hardest part of all of this, is the no matter what part. You have to be prepared that might not happen, and you have to be just as okay. That's one of the things that they talk about a lot when it comes to law of attraction stuff, is that you visualize it and you feel it and you experience it and you let it go. And that's this part. It's the letting it go and being okay with not getting it. And that seems kind of counterintuitive, but an example is when I had my prayer with God and said, if this is something that I have to endure, then at least just give me the strength to do that. Like, that was me preparing to let it go. Like, I would prefer to have this, but if that's not an option, if I can't get that, then let me experience what I already have in a better way, in a more peaceful way, a more productive way that, it doesn't have me crying on my bathroom floor in the middle of the night, that doesn't have me sent into loops boosts of anxiety and panic attacks and things like that. I came to my moment of peace. I have to let this go no matter which way it goes. I have to be okay with whatever the outcome is. So I'm sharing this just so that you don't think that it was only with my teeth, because this has happened in a lot of areas. One morning, my husband wrecked my death trap of a car. The suspension was just shot. It was constantly blowing tires out on the highway. I was constantly dumping money into it that I couldn't afford, because at the time my husband was the only one working, and we couldn't afford car repairs. A few hours after he wrecked my car, somebody that watched my channel and found my videos helpful deposited $3,000 into my PayPal account as a thank you, not having any idea what had just happened to my car. And I was able to take that $3,000 that we were broke. I took that to a car dealership, put it down on an Acadia, which was my, at the time, dream mom mobile. By that night, I had an Acadia sitting in my driveway, and it was mine. The whole time that I was driving in that Explorer, I was thankful that I even had transportation, because I could have been catching the bus or depending on other people for rides. I knew how blessed I was just to have anything. And so I never prayed for a car, a nicer car, because that was doing okay. It was when I started blowing out tires on the side of the interstate with my kids in the car that it kind of freaked me out. And I started thinking, like, God, if you could just give me something that's not going to kill us and that's going to, just serve its functional purpose of getting us from point A to point B, and not having me dumping all of our disposable income, which wasn't really there, into this car that's just gonna fall apart in the end anyways. And I was just imagining like what it would feel like to drive in a car that wasn't making sounds, that was comfortable, had comfortable seats. My kids would feel nice riding in it. I wouldn't feel embarrassed pulling up places in it. Like, it's just a normal, like, straight up car with no issues, just something safe. And then I got what I had wanted, because that was obviously the car that was in my visualizations, because that's the one that I wanted. And if it weren't for my husband wrecking my car, I wouldn't have gotten it. If it weren't for some kind gentleman that saw me on YouTube depositing that money in my account, I couldn't have afforded the down payment for it. Everything lined up there again. I could keep going, honestly. I've got so many other examples. This is not me bragging like, hey guys, look what I have. It's me saying, like, I have seen the struggle. I know what that looks like. Like, y'all don't understand. Like, I've been accused of being rich on here. If you guys only knew. I'm telling you, I have been at the bottom and I know what the struggle is, and I'm still struggling in certain areas of my life. But the difference is now I know that I have the power to change those things. I have the power to write a different narrative for my life, and it all comes down to what I'm putting in my head. What are the beliefs that I hold? What do I really think about the way the world works and where I fit into the world, and what am I capable of achieving? And now I know exactly what that is. And it's anything. It's anything that I actually believe can happen, it can happen. And you can't tell me any differently. And I'm going to have regular talks with God about it all the time, from a place of, you know what? This is what I really want to happen right now. It's what I really think needs to happen. However, I hope that you can get to the bottom of that and like translate what's really in my heart. Like, what is it that I really need? And that's the whole I win no matter what part. Because if I don't get what I think that I want, then at least I am constantly open to the idea that this is a learning experience. This was a necessary part of my story, of my growth as a person. And I take what I need from it and I leave all the rest that doesn't serve me. And I just keep going and I keep trying. I fully believe that when I have something in my heart and in my mind that I want to go for, I'm going to try for it. And nothing's going to tell me no. And the only reason I'm able to do that with such confidence and certainty is because I have done it so many times before, and it's all the same. It's either I get that or I get something just as good, if not better, or I become better. and it's all a win for me. This was a very long video and I apologize for that, but I hope that you guys have picked some things out of it that you can apply to your own life, and I would be more than happy to do more videos like this to really get down into detail about it. In fact, I am starting a personal channel where I can talk about this stuff regularly because this is a denture channel, even though I kind of feel like it merges. It's all about life and doing better. I've started a personal channel. I just haven't recorded for that channel yet, but it's going to be about things like this and lifestyle stuff, like becoming better, like going from a hot mess to like really actually being on top of things type of stuff, because that is my passion. I want you guys to know, if you're sad, if you're lonely, if you're confused, if you're scared, if you're going through something right now and you just feel like you are in the trenches all alone, you are not alone. I am praying constantly for you. I pray that each and every one of you gets exactly what it is that you need to become the person that you're meant to become. I mean that with all of my heart. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like. You guys enjoy your holiday season, enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you next time. Y'all take care.